You know those dead moments of silence when you're leading a meeting where no one is talking? Yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. Today, we're going to break down three powerful nonverbal communication tools that we use to drive greater influence. Three of them. Here's the first one. It's eye contact. Now, some of you may say that's basic. Well, I want to challenge you here. Different cultures say different things about eye contact. Some see it as a sign of respect. Some see it as it being uncomfortable. Some expect you to have the eye contact consistently. But here are some fun facts about eye contact. When we look away, typically it's because we're processing information, we are feeling uncomfortable, we are thinking deeply. Sometimes we look away because we need emotional space. And eye contact is a form of intimacy. It's one of the easiest ways to give someone whom you're speaking with, especially if you are speaking to one person, to give them the signal that I'm here with you. It's the reason why when you're speaking to a large crowd, as a public speaking coach, myself and others, if you've ever been trained by someone, will tell you to lock eyes with someone in the audience. My suggestion would be to scan, but that's just me. But eye contact is critical. Think about when you're having a conversation with someone that you deeply love and you care about, and it's serious. You would likely be looking at them, and you would likely want them to be looking at you. It's a sign of respect, and it also demonstrates, like, I'm here with you. It demonstrates that you're being present. Now, too much eye contact can be dominating, and too little eye contact could be, symbolic of a person lacking confidence. It is only the person who doesn't have, whom is growing their confidence in themselves, that has difficulty making eye contact. It's a true giveaway. And so, the eye contact that's going to be just right is going to help to build connection. So it's natural to look away. It's natural to process. It's natural to feel deeply or think deeply. But when you are ready to re-engage in the dialogue, not your thinking process, definitely make your eye contact. Also, when we're not looking at someone, it can convey to them that we're not focused on what they're trying to say or communicate to us. So eye contact is one of the three nonverbal communication tools that I think we can use to increase our influence. Make eye contact when you're giving praise. You make eye contact when you're giving correction. Whenever we're talking to someone, our level of eye contact, I think, says a lot about how confident we are in what we're communicating. So just try your best there. All right, here's number 2. Now, I mentioned this 2 weeks ago about the power of, it's not what you say, it's everything else outside of your words. A big portion of that is your body language, and that second biggest portion is your tone. According to research, tone is next important and right below body language. Now, I want you to think about these phrases that could be said in a meeting. Actually, that's interesting. That's actually interesting. That's actually interesting. Or that's never going to work. That's never going to work. I hate this idea. I hate this idea. I hate this idea. Why are we still talking about this? Why are we talking about this? Why are we still talking about this? It's all in how you say it. And when we think of tone, think of it in that way. It's the meaning behind what you are saying backed by your tonation. And so when you are speaking, the emphasis that you place on words, I always say we should only use emphasis on words that we want to draw meaning to. And so your tonality this is way in the weeds, but it should change based on what you want your listener to be drawn to in that moment. So if you're telling a story and if all of the words you're saying have an emphasis, oh my God, they were so busy and everybody was so big, and then they were so basic and everybody was big and bad and not, that's hard to follow. But if you told a story, it was so interesting, everybody was so big and they were so bold. You see that the emphasis that you place on the words, that's where you want your listener to focus the most. And so as a leader, when you are communicating something, be selective on those emphases and be intentional about your tone. Now, I think that body language of them all is probably the one that requires the most observation of self. Now, here are some signs of body language that we often see in meetings. We see crossed arms. A crossed arm could be up here. It could be below. You could also cross your arms. You can't see my arms, but sometimes some women will put their arms on their lap. And, this isn't always the case. Sometimes people cross their arms because of the temperature in the room. Some people cross their arms because they, not realizing this, but this is their way of saying, I'm not quite ready to be social. I'm not interested in being social. I am not open in this environment, or I'm not buying it. That's a form of body language. You can also lean in. Leaning in is a form of body language. It's on the more positive side, but it demonstrates that you are following, you're interested, you are connected to what's being said. Another positive form of body language would be nodding. It's basically telling the person, I'm with you. If you find that people are looking away, it could be that they're checked out. Their mind is somewhere else, not necessarily with what's being shared. And fidgeting is another one to look for too. Sometimes it's a sign of discomfort, maybe uncomfortable with something that's being said or uncomfortable with how it's being said. You can fidget with your feet. You can fidget with your legs going back and forth. You can also fidget by standing, swaying back and forth, switching from your stance. And obviously you can also fidget with your hands, and that's your fingers. Some people also fidget with their hair or their earrings. And it doesn't always mean that you're uncomfortable. Some of us do it unconsciously, just a place of comfort, just something to do, something to touch. I find that I do that a lot with my locks. So I want to challenge you this week. I've told you about the 3 ways that you can use body language as a tool as a leader. Now, I want you to do this week, I want you to record yourself in the next 3 meetings that you're leading. Yep, I want you to record it. And I want you to watch for your eye contact patterns, your shifts in tone when you are correcting, when you're praising, when you're instructing, when you're giving direction. And I also want you to look at your unconscious body movements, what your hands are doing. Are your fingers excessively pointing? Are you fists, what's this called? I don't know, fist cupping? Look for those body movements that you have. Do you have poor posture? Do you look disengaged? This is your homework, and you are doing this to assess your nonverbal communication because, you'd be surprised at what's happening in the meetings that you're leading that's actually driving the energy. So if energy is an area of your meeting that you feel is lacking, you lead that. I said this on this video a few years ago, and I said that, as a leader, or if you are coming into a space and being the communicator, you're responsible for creating the energy in a room. If other people are coming in, they're not feeling the best, the weather's not the best, there's just a lot of things going on, people are overwhelmed. As the leader, you're responsible for creating the energy in the room. So you can create it positively, or you could have struggle energy is what they call it. So remember, your body's telling a story whether you're in control of that narrative or not. That doesn't sound so good, but I hope it's convicting. Anyway, if you found this episode to be helpful, go ahead and like or subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on LinkedIn, I'd love for you to share it with someone that you know who's in leadership and could definitely, we all can use some help with our nonverbal communication. I'm Linnita Hosten, and I will see you next week. Bye.